Here we go.
So this week I posted a video titled, Ryan Coogler Drops Bombshell, What Wakanda Forever Was Supposed to Be. It was speculation based on an article I found on Deadline.com, where Wakanda Forever director Ryan Coogler, even though he's credited as the writer of the movie, doesn't seem to be on board with the version of the Black Panther sequel we got in theaters. Again, I was speculating. But in the article he outlines what the movie was supposed to be before Chadwick Boseman's untimely passing. Similar to the theme in the first movie, it was going to be a father-son story, but from the perspective of the father because the first one was from the perspective of the sons, which is a far cry different from the Queen Mother Goddess feminist drivel we got in the first movie. And to me, again, this is based on my impression, it came across as him having a creative difference with the higher ups at Marvel Studios. To me, it looked like a passive-aggressive jab, and that he's trying to distance himself from the movie, because I'm sure that he knows by now that, oh no, audiences are not pleased, and that the movie is underperforming at the box office. As of right now, it sits at 800 million, which without context seems like a major success. And that would be for most movies. But when you consider the fact that the previous film, adjusted for inflation, generated 1.6 billion, that's a 50% fall off. And now with it only appearing in about half as many theaters and only pulling in about 3% of its original gross per showing, it won't come close to matching the success of the previous film. And that's worse when you consider the fact that there was a massive increase in production and marketing budget. In short, Disney spent considerably more on a film that's going to get considerably less than the previous, which is alarming because sequels tend to do better than the previous film. They were likely expecting a return of $2 billion, but instead it looks like they're going to get less than half of that. Now, I don't know if Ryan Coogler is being honest, and I don't know why he'd bother undermining the movie the way that he did, by licking the plot of the movie that he originally planned, thus making the movie that we saw in theaters look considerably inferior than what was initially planned. Because as one viewer pointed out, he also said stuff like this.
What you see in African communities, the women are, women tend to hold it down. You know what I mean? They tend to be the ones that are helping further the cause of the community. So we wanted to highlight that.
Jesus, just grow some f***ing balls.
So on one hand, he says he wanted to make a father-son movie like he did with Creed and the first Black Panther, but on the other hand, he talks like a male feminist. He sounds like a movie maker that would make something like Wakanda Forever. So I don't know what his motives are. I don't know who the real Ryan Coogler is in this scenario. Again, I go into further detail on this topic in the video I posted earlier, and if you want to check it out, here's the link. So now that we have that backstory, let's get to the point of this video. Why is Wakanda Forever underperforming?
Don't worry. She's got help.
I think it's because of the progressive agenda that the MCU has been pushing. Sometime around the end of Phase 3, starting with Captain Marvel, the MCU has been shoving this feminist rainbow agenda down our throats. And I go into further detail on that in this video. But viewers disagreed. They came to my comments section and said this.
You can't compare pre-pandemic numbers. We can't compare the first film to the second. First one came out before the cough and with the hype of Infinity War right around the corner. I get your points and agree that Phase 4 is trash. However, box office numbers compared to the first film isn't a fair assessment. There aren't any films doing pre-COVID numbers. The box office has shrunk a lot, period. With that being said, I'm sick of the driven agenda in everything that drops right now.
Now, I don't want to pick on them because that's a common response. It's not the first time I've seen someone say that. I hear that a lot. And not just for Wakanda Forever. Whenever a movie that's been championed by the access media fails, people often blame the cough or say you can't expect those type of returns in a post-cough era. And to me, that's BS. And I can prove it. For starters, the cough started 3 years ago in 2019, and shutdowns were in 2020, but everything opened back up 18 months later. By spring of 2021, things were getting back to normal, and by the late fall of that year, early winter, people were headed back to the movies. And we know that based on the success of films like Spider-Man No Way Home. That came out in December of 2021, and it made $2 billion in the box office. Then 3 months later, in March of this year, The Batman overachieved with $800 million. Then 2 months later in May, we had Top Gun Maverick that made $1.5 billion. The following month, we had Jurassic World Dominion that made $1 billion. And this month, Avatar: Way of Water made $1 billion in just 2 weeks. And that's with record-breaking low temperatures and blizzards. So this idea that the cough is what led to the underperformance of Wakanda Forever and other films simply isn't true. It didn't keep people from seeing Spider-Man, Top Gun, or the Avatar sequel, movies that already have or are currently on pace to outperform their predecessors. And if that isn't good enough, check out this excerpt from Forbes magazine. It makes 2 points that I want to highlight. The first one is, the number of Americans comfortable going to a movie theater is the highest it's been since the start of the pandemic, according to a Morning Consult poll released Thursday, suggesting lackluster in-person attendance can no longer be blamed solely on the cough. Now check this part out, this is key, because here they're talking about the people that are not going to theaters anymore. Over half the respondents, 55%, said they are more interested in watching movies at home. 50% said it's too expensive to see movies in the theaters, and 32% said they are not interested in the movies playing in theaters. So, of the people that are not going to the movies, 82% said it was either the price or a lack of interest in the movie playing. In short, it costs too much and the movies are not worth the price. They aren't good enough. But in the case of Spider-Man, The Batman, Top Gun, Jurassic World, and Avatar, it was worth the price. When it came to those movies, people went to go see it. They gladly paid the price, even during a blizzard. So all that means is that most of the movies that have come out in the past few years ain't shit. Now, if you want to blame the streaming services, I still disagree, but at least I understand that line of thinking. Because streaming platforms are a lot bigger than what they were 4 years ago, and movies are coming out a lot faster to streaming than they did in the past, in some cases within a month of release. But that still doesn't explain why the movies I mentioned earlier did well in the age of streaming. Nor does it explain why entertainment media riddled with social political agendas that debuted on streaming services still performed poorly. So the cough had nothing to do with that. So given all of those factors, you can't blame the cough as the reason why Wakanda Forever has fallen short. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know the reason why.
The women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
It's the progressive messaging. Movies don't reflect the values, lifestyle, or interests of the average person anymore. The average moviegoer isn't in a rainbow relationship. Nor do they want to see comic book movies where every woman is a Mary Sue and every straight man is an idiot or a villain, topped off with contrived plots, poor casting, and bad screenwriting. Secondly, people don't want to be lectured when they're going to be entertained. 85% of people hate their jobs. 75% of Americans say they didn't marry the spouse they wanted. And 70% live paycheck to paycheck, meaning most people get up, fight traffic to go to a job they don't like, just to come home to a spouse they don't love and a house they can't afford. Now that's a hard way to live, but most people do it. And that's why I believe a lot of people self-medicate. They abuse food, pornography, sex, narcotics, and alcohol. But some look to entertainment. That's their drug of choice. They use it to escape reality. For those 2 to 3 hours, they tune in to tune out from life. And that's all they want to do. They just want to escape from reality. They want to relax and have fun. But Hollywood isn't having it. They're like, to hell with your fun, you're going to get this message. You're going to get all the woke talking points and themes you didn't ask for. And it sucks. It takes the joy right out of the experience of watching a movie. I mean, as for me personally, I swear, it's like having to sit through a speech by Greta Thunberg. Just her telling you that you ain't and she's better than you.
How dare you?
So it's not the cough. It's not the cough. It's all the messaging they put in these movies. That's why people aren't showing up. That's why Wakanda Forever, in comparison to the prequel, is a failure. So if you like this video, please give it a like and leave a comment in the comments section and share the link on your social media platforms. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you'll get alerts every time I upload new content. This is the Layman's Journal. Thanks for stopping by. I'm out.